We are talking about the Orville, and there is a season 4 update. But is it a good update? Is it a bad update? I'll tell you what this headline says. The genius that wrote this headline wrote,
Bring up
the Orville season 4 update may not be what you want to hear.
Well, yeah, because
we're reporting from honestpopculture.com.
You can read this article on honestpopculture.com. Is that what you just said?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. If you can tell, we're a little proud of that. But what's funny is, if you put the answer in the headline, there's no point in reading the body. Anything else? Yeah.
No. I'm just giving you a hard time. I think you're a good.
You like that picture of Seth's face I used? Isn't that perfect?
This one right here.
Yeah, where he's got his hand in his face.
He always has that look, though.
Well, no, that was a special scene, but I used it for this story because the news, you get it? The news is not great.
Yeah, I get it.
All right,
it's good. All right, break it down, dude.
All right, the Orville season 4 gets an update from ABC Entertainment, Hulu, and Disney branded television streaming originals president Craig Erwich, and it's less than inspiring. It's not looking good for season 4 of the Orville, guys. Basically, Craig Erwich gave a nothing to see here update of the Orville season 4. Basically, he was talking to TV Line, and they asked him, "Hey, what's going on with the Orville season 4?" And Erwich said, "We don't have anything to share right now.
Right.
It's a great show, and I know the fans loved having it back in their lives." And Seth MacFarlane did a good job, uniquely as he can, in front and behind the camera. But we don't have anything to share right now.
Right. They're being ghosted right now.
Right. So what does that mean? This is the Hulu guy, right?
Right.
What does it mean when he says we don't have anything to share right now?
Right.
I will tell you what the answer is.
Yeah.
The answer is nothing's happening. Okay. And he says, I don't have anything to share. It's because they're not talking about it. They're not planning for it. They're not actually doing anything to move season 4 forward at all in any way, shape, or form right now.
Yeah, no one's returning anyone's calls about the Orville right now.
Right, and that's because Seth is off doing his TED stuff.
Yep.
Okay, he's other things are going on, and the real truth of the matter is that the Orville is extraordinarily expensive to make. And Disney does not want to pay for it right now.
Right.
Now, there may come a time when they do, but I think there's going to be a pretty serious hiatus before we even get anything that resembles a season 4. I think Seth is going to need to get the TED thing out of his system a little bit.
Right.
And want to come back to the Orville before they start talking about it. But it's kind of sad because all of the actors on the show, they're actually talking a lot about, in a hopeful way. And I know a lot of people do that when they're in a role, they're working, and they want to keep working. So we want to keep that positivity and hope that can happen. But whenever, whether it was MGM about Stargate or before Star Trek came back with New Trek, this is like the standard way of saying nothing's happening. They go back to talking about how great the show was. This is not good for future Orville.
Yeah, the thing is, a lot of people. This is what I've learned some stuff off of being in this space and reporting news on YouTube. I've learned some things. I think we've learned some things. When an actor says something, it literally means nothing. Actors, for the most part, are paid employees. If they're I want to keep doing this role, of course they do. If you work at the Cheesecake Factory, do you want to keep working at the Cheesecake Factory? Of course you do.
Ewan McGregor's doing it right now with Kenobi season 2.
Right.
He is out there pushing to try to, he is saying that he wants to do it.
And regular people go, oh, that means that that's probably happening. No. That means that the actor, and God bless their soul, I love all the actors on the Orville. They're all really good people. They came on our show. They're really nice.
Yeah, awesome.
They're down to earth. They talk to us on Twitter and Instagram. They're great people, and I want them to be working. But
yes, we want more Orville.
Yes. But when they go oh, I can't wait to come back to this role, that sounds great, but they're not actually in charge of anything.
Right.
Like they're just waiting for Seth or whoever to give them the offer or to give their agent the offer, and then they get it in the email and they say yes or no. So I learned that when I was younger, before YouTube, like I would look at like Stargate news and I would see like Amanda Tapping talking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, all right. Now I realize Amanda Tapping has no power over Stargate. Richard D. Anderson, no power. The effing showrunner, Brad Wright
has no power over Stargate.
The guy who created it has no power over what happens. If the guy who created it doesn't have power over it, then certainly the guy who played Walter in SGC has no bearing on whether a show happens or not, right?
Right.
Not that they're bad people, not at all. But, of course, they're going to be optimistic and positive because they need to be, because that's their job, right?
Yeah. The things that we're learning as we spend more time with people on the inside at Hollywood, the things that we're learning about how the shows really get made, about who has control and who has power. I got to tell you, these studio execs are like, they hold everything in their hand, man.
Yeah, they're gods.
And depending on your relationship with them, how you feel about them, a lot of it is based on personal relationships, how decisions get made. And it's a little bit frightening, to be honest with you. Like if you're expecting something to happen, there almost has to be this, special favor being done for things to happen sometimes. And
right. Or there has to be like an insane outcry to where the executives can't ignore it because their bosses are the shareholders.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the only way something's really, if let's say Kurtzman, if you want Kurtzman to do something, he's going to do whatever he wants to do for his buddies and his position, unless someone creates a petition and it gets 4 million signatures about making Strange New Worlds. That's how you change the game.
Yeah, 100%.
When so many people are talking about it to the point where a shareholder with power hears it, that's when their minds get changed.
So, and let me tell you guys a little bit insider info or something you probably haven't heard yet before. And that is that when the Orville was being made for season 3, Seth wanted to do such a great job with it that he fronted a lot of his own money for the show.
Yeah.
So the Orville season 3 ended up being a lot more expensive than even what was paid because Seth put his own into it.
Right.
And so now coming back to do a season 4, you can't regress. You can't make a worse show. So, and Seth don't want to foot the bill again for another season. Like
even if he's super passionate about it, he's still got to stack for a while though, right? You can't just keep
right. Somebody else needs to pay for that. I mean, he did what he wanted to do. He came out swinging and told compelling stories and was dramatic. And I think he satiated what he needed inside of his soul that he was willing to put out his own, coin to do.
Right.
So, but that means that the Orville was much more expensive than perhaps Disney or Hulu want to pay for it.
Right.
So really what you can do is if you love the Orville and you want more of it, still, it's the same thing. We need to watch it on Disney Plus.
Yeah. You got to support it.
The more people watch the Orville on Disney Plus and over time, the Disney execs are going to be like, wow, we're getting a lot of views on this Orville stuff.
That's another thing too, is it's hard to even sell things now because streaming services hold all the information so close to their vest.
Right.
That you can't even go like, hey, Peacock, look at how good my show's doing. He can't know.
Yeah. And a lot of the showrunners don't know how good their shows are doing.
Right.
Sometimes it's a shock to them because they don't get the numbers. The numbers are held so close. They tell nobody what the numbers are because the numbers are the magic. Like you get to control everything. The Nielsen readings, the executives at studios hated Nielsen ratings.
Right.
Because it was done by an outside source and the information got shared to the public.
Yeah, and people were like, "Oh, Nielsen has too much power." They needed the power because now what we're experiencing now is we're experiencing a media world where no one is accountable, and you can just cook the books and it's totally legal. It's crazy.
Yeah, you used to be able to. You couldn't cancel a show if it was making money.
Right
now, they can cancel a show if they're pissed off at the showrunner.
Right.
And now they can say, "Oh, it didn't make enough money," and like who's gonna know?
Right.
They can say whatever they want, so there's no accountability. You're right. Orville Nation super chat $5. Thank you so much, PJ. How do we know Scott Grimes' character in Ted doesn't end up being Gordon Malloy back in time in other timelines? Ted and Orville now in the same universe. I love that. You've been watching Brian talk about his conspiracies and like his crossovers. I love that. Yeah, you know what? It very well could be. So
on that same note, though, imagine Seth is like a chef, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has different menus. He's not like a chef at Norm's. He's a chef where he picks his menu for that week or that month or whatever. And Tom and all the people that went with him, like they're working with him on Ted. Those are his sous chefs. So that's his crew. Seth's crew went from the Orville to Ted and other shows, right? So he is now working on another menu item. So everyone keeps asking him about that awesome steak that he made last month. And he's like, guys, right now I'm working on the chicken Tuscany or whatever. And like he might visit that other recipe, but he's in the middle of doing something completely different. And that's how the opera and someone else is paying for this time. He lost money on the Tenderloin, right?
So you're gonna need the Orville season 4 ball to roll around the track once. Right. Like it missed its window, I guess is what we're saying.
Well, yeah.
Like nobody wants to hear this, and I'm sorry if you're an Orville fan, like we are, because we've already accepted this, and much to our disappointment. And so if this is not good news for you, then if you're waiting to hear Orville season 4 to get announced and like you're waiting on pins and needles, you need to just tuck that away because it may still happen at some point, but it's definitely not on the priority list. And I would not expect to hear anything for perhaps a year or maybe even 2 years.
Right.
If it were to come back. And likely if it comes back, it probably wouldn't come back as a season 4. It would probably come back more as like a movie or something like that. They might do like an Orville movie. So I could see that. But I think Seth's probably going to have to get that urge again, to get that, get the creative tank is going to need to fill back up the desire.
Well, he's working on but he's working on projects right now.
I'm saying for the Orville specifically, his Star Trek thing got satiated. Like he wanted to do Star Trek so bad.
Right.
He did it. He did 3 seasons of it. We love it. But now he's like, well, I would still do it if you're going to pay for it. And they're like,
So also streaming services and networks different. Like we missed the network window already because that happens that already happened. But there is a window for streaming services to announce for late fall. So there is like a tiny itty bitty chance, but we believe that that's not happening because the entire crew is working on a completely different show right now. So
I mean, I don't want, we're just realists. I mean, we can sit here and say, hey, we hope it's that way, but we're not going to fill your head full of,
what's the point of that?
BS. We're not going to keep you holding on. We don't want to keep you, we're not going to tell you something we don't believe.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're wrong.
Jork Knight asked, do you regret knowing how the sausage is made? Yeah, a little bit.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Because you know what? I got to tell you, it's like sort of depressing. When you talk,
no, I got some news a couple days ago that we can't share yet with you, but got some news that I did not like hearing, and it had to do with people in charge of things at Hollywood. And yeah, sometimes it's not good knowing that.
Yeah. I almost would rather not know because at least I would because it's harder to enjoy things that we have now. And it's like it's a weird thing, man.
Yeah, sometimes it's really great, and sometimes it's not. And in the future, we're going to be able to talk about it. And we'll share it with you guys first when we can. But just know that the complaints that people have about Hollywood, and the channels where sometimes people are like, well, those guys just hate a lot. And they're just, listen, sometimes they're right on the money on some things.
Yeah, sometimes they're right.
There's some real crappy things about Hollywood that are just not cool. That's very incestuous. There's some good things, but there's some poopy things too.
And sometimes they're right. And sometimes I was wrong in criticizing them. And I found out after the fact. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, that's it. That's it for the Orville. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. What's up?
Just real quick, because I think PJ says something important here. He says, we don't really know what's going on, though, in my opinion. And he's right. we're not saying that we know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we don't.
So, because we don't, they could come out and announce it tomorrow. This is just our feeling from kind of being close to it and being through these situations with a lot of shows.
Can I correct that statement though? Because like,
it.
if they were going to announce it tomorrow, I do believe that some of our connections would tell us, "Hey, we're going to announce it tomorrow."
Right. I was just being facetious by saying.
Oh,
tomorrow.
I see.
I mean, if it was pending, I think we would know.
Right. Yeah, I do. But so either it's not pending, or it's so far out that there's no reason for us to know.
I mean, these words say we're not talking about it right now. There's nothing. We don't have anything to share right now because we're not even talking about it.
Right.
That's what that says.